In this video, I researched and made ancient souvlaki from 800 BC. Let's try this ancient souvlaki. Wrapping it up. And I was just reading the Iliad, as one does, and I found this interesting tidbit. Godlike Achilles cut and sliced with care and spitted all. But when the fire burned down and flame was dead, the embers he spread smooth, and over these stretched spits upraised on blocks at either end, and sprinkled over the meats with salt divine. So, is souvlaki an ancient food that we eat to this day? Watch the rest of the video to find out. You might be asking, Nico, if the Iliad is a work of fiction and Homer likely didn't exist, how can we know that these Greeks ate souvlaki? Let me demonstrate this with an example. Imagine the year is 7000 AD and you are an archaeologist or a historian from the future. And for some reason, the internet disappeared. The only way you can research food is through physical media. And you find a physical copy of the movie Avengers. After watching it until the end, even after the post credits, spoiler alert, you see the whole team of the Avengers sitting down eating shawarma. Is shawarma something that people ate daily in 2008? Probably not, but at least it gives you an idea what kind of foods exist in a metropolis like New York. The Iliad was not any less impressive to its contemporaries as Avengers were to us, and it was written in this specific form called dactylic hexameter, which was specifically designed for songs and poems. It was legendary at the time. If you, like me, are not entirely satisfied as this being the first mention of souvlaki in history, well, I gather some more evidence for you. We have tangible evidence using radioactive isotope dating of bones that Cypriots ate fire-grilled meats since 8000 BC. Because spit roasting might involve using the entire carcass, as in the case of modern-day Ovelias, or big chunks of the animal, like modern-day souvla, that's not really a souvlaki. When I started doing background work on the research on the history of souvlaki, I came across this website where I found this primary source, the Dipnosophists by Athenius, which I had to check out. This book was written around the 3rd century AD, and its title means Dinner Time Philosophists. And in it, Athenius gives elaborate descriptions of various dishes, including the proto-souvlaki I was mentioning. This earlier form of souvlaki was called gandavlos, and because Greek is made up of a lot of composite words, we can deduce its meaning. Davlos means a stick, so gandavlos is meat on a stick. Souvlaki. Hegesippus the Tarentine says that the gandavlos is made of boiled meat and grated bread and Phrygian cheese and aniseed and fig broth. But I think there is an error in translation by Cindy Young, so I went and found the original. I don't know ancient Greek, but I use my knowledge of modern Greek and Google to decipher the meaning of the ancient text. Athenius lists pre-cooked meat, but doesn't specify using which method, and a specific kind of bread called knistos or grated bread, and not aniseed, but dill. Gandavlos was very popular, and it was also considered a fast food. Philemon said, all these witnesses in the city, that I am the only one that can dress a sausage, a gandavlos, eggs, a thrium, all in no time. Was there any error or mistake in this? Hey, thank you for watching. Please smash that like button and you will get a reward in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm so lucky to have you. Thanks for liking. After reading all this, I wanted to make a version of this ancient souvlaki, but I didn't know how to make the bread. So I searched the Dipnosophists to see what this grated bread was. There was a cake, my master, as big as this and wide, and it was so thick that it bulged from the basket, and when the cover was taken off, an odor and a steam mingled with honey rose upward to the nostrils, for it was still hot. So I gathered all this information and I decided to make my version of Gandavlos. Because this would have taken me ages, I decided that I would make the ancient bread and use souvlakia from a pita with souvlakia from my local souvlagis. I was okay with this substitution because souvlakia to this day are not marinated before they get grilled and they are not seasoned with anything but divine salt. Another shortcut I took in order to get this video out to you faster was to bloom some honey with some instant yeast to speed up the fermentation of the bread. But know that in ancient Greece, they most probably used sourdough. Look at this time lapse of the yeast fermenting. I added some flour to the yeast mixture until it became the consistency between a pancake batter and a dough. I covered it with a wet dish towel and put it in a slightly warm oven to simulate an ideal growth environment for 1 hour. When it doubled in size, I removed it from the oven and added some more flour to make it more easy to work with. Then I used a well-oiled baking sheet in a cake pan to place my dough in. I preheated the oven to 250 degrees Celsius for half an hour, keeping the roasting trays in to retain heat. I then placed my cake pan in the top tray and I poured half a liter of boiling water to the bottom tray to steam the bread. While the bread was baking, I made a light chicken bone broth with some vinegar. I then took the Knistos bread out of the oven, and to my disappointment, it did not rise over the cake pan as I wanted. As you can see, I am not a really good baker, nor do I have the patience required to make an excellent bread. That did not stop me from making the recipe though. I just waited it to cool down so that I can cut it. I decided to cut it in the way that it was mentioned in Dipnosophists, then add the cheese, followed by the souvlakia, which I stole from my pita, and followed by the broth, then by the dill, and then by the divine salt. Let's try this ancient souvlaki. Wrapping it up, and I didn't expect much from an ancient recipe, but look at my face here. It's very similar. It's really simple flavors, but at the same time, very familiar flavors. I might actually make this again to make it a bit more proper. Foodies, I hope you enjoyed watching this video and that you learned something from it. Would you want to find out more about the history of souvlaki in the modern age? Let me know down in the comments and maybe I will do a part 2. If you are not yet an official foodie, then subscribe and I will bestow upon you the title. Please check out my other videos on Greek and Cypriot food and on food history in general. Until the next time, bye!